Live in our hearts, fill this body, stir our spirits, help us serve. Walk with our feet to the hurting. Let us be you, revive your church.
Welcome to week 2, Cultivating Commitment of the Fantastic Families Devotion. I'm at a soybean field today because this week we're talking about cultivating commitment. In the study over 25 years with 14,000 families that we're using as our basis, they determined that the number one bedrock foundational virtue of strong families was commitment. In fact, they learned that if commitment was the basis that the other 5 that we'll be studying the next 5 weeks are built upon. I'm here in a bean field because when I think about cultivating something, I think about the farmers cultivating the ground in the spring of the year. So it is in our families. We don't just have commitment, we have to be cultivating it or trying to build it as an environment in our family. I'm reminded, before we hear what some of the men say about commitment, now Jesus talking about this similar principle. In John chapter 12, he says, "Most assuredly I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much grain." These soybeans, the farmer has cultivated them, the Lord has sent the rain, they've been fertilized. But in order for them to give off their grain, in order for them to give off their end product, they have to be so committed to it that they die so they can have their harvest. So it is in our families. If we're going to have the commitment we need, we have to be willing to die to ourselves and put others first in our families. In Matthew chapter 16, Jesus also says in verse 26, "For whoever desires to save his life will lose it. Whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. For what profit is it of a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul?" This week, let me ask this question. What profit is it if a man gains the whole world, if he's successful in his career, he has a lot of pleasure, or whatever it is, and loses his family? What will a man give in exchange for his family? And so we're talking about commitment so that our family can have peace, security, and there doesn't have to be fear by any family member of whether we're going to stay together. Listen to what the men say about commitment. Do that devotional sheet, read the Bible passages, talk openly, and pray together. And this week, build your fantastic family upon the principle of commitment.
To me, commitment means sacrifice. I think sacrifice is a big word in it because it means that you're willing to give up certain things to whomever or whatever you're committed to.
What it really means to me is that I don't consider other options, whether that be at work or here at church. You know, you put that first and you don't consider the other options.
Commitment means to me is doing what I say that I will do. If I say I will stay with my wife till death do us part, that's what I'll do. If I say I'll be at work on time, I'll be at work on time.
In cultivating commitment times, when we go through those periods that we're really tested and testing our commitment to something, it's good to seek out people who I do at times who are older than me, who have been down a very trying road that I can go to and sit down and talk to and say, how did you get through this? And oftentimes they'll tell you the struggle that they went through and maybe at times even that they thought about giving up, which may be where you are at that point. But listening to someone who's older, wiser, been experienced more than you have, oftentimes will give you direction and encourage you to stay and stick something out.
That is cultivated in our families is that we make time for them, and that time needs to be ample and it needs to be consistent.
I think commitment to me means doing the right thing, even if it's not something that you really want to do, that's not convenient for you to do at the time. But if you've said this is what I will do, you know it's the right thing to do, then commitment is following through and doing the right thing at all times.
Made a commitment to be together and to stay communicated with one another. Even though our family is separated by a lot of miles, there's never a week that goes by but what we do not talk with one another. And when Nancy's mother was leaving, her last commitment to her children, all 5, please stay together. And we have.
Live in our hearts, fill this body, stir our spirits, help us